I'm still in pre-final mode, and we are nearly halfway through the trophy
so far
finals.
ahead of schedule.
The B final, the B final for cadets. Then Ethan Guest takes this one from pole. Dan Griffin alongside him, Tom Justice and Leonidas Georgiou on row 2, Bobby Peters and Jacob Cipregi on row 3. Row 4 is where we'll find Tom Grulois and Charlie Cipregi. Then it's Thomas Barker and Harvey Dowler on 5. Row 6 is occupied by Joey Mims and Cooper Campbell-Lees. Row 7 is where we'll find Archie Lamb and James Wall. Leo Ryan and Aaron Hayward are on row 8. Row 9 is Fawaz Adra and Leo Edger. Ruben Gardner and George Glossop are next, ahead of Jack Yates and Layla Fitzgerald. Your 2 promotees on the back row there on the 11th row to form up a 22-cart grid for the B final for lightweight cadets. Hope you're enjoying this coverage of round 6 of the 2024 Club 100 Cadets and Junior Championship. As Andrew says, we seem to be running a little bit ahead of schedule here, but nonetheless, we're getting plenty of racing action in. 11 minutes on the clock, engines don't rise, and Ethan Guest leads them away in the number 73 into oblivion for the first time. It's a fairly even start. It looks off the grid. How are they going to navigate over the curbs? That has put the pole sitter out onto the curbing there, and Dan Griffin gets to the head of the field. There's a penalty for braking formation already coming in for Joey Mims as they come through Christmas Corner for the first time. And they come round Inkermans. And we've got spinners at the back. Oh, we've got a couple of spinners there, and drivers, well, you never like to see that, drivers coming across the path of others there, but they've all done well there to navigate that and avoid that. It is Dan Griffin in the lead, though, and it was Leonidas Georgiou in second place. But already, that was that Jacob Cipregi?
It's Harvey Dowler, the number 69, who had the spin in the pre-B final, has bounced back straight away. Brilliant response from Harvey Dowler up into second place. Now Archie Lamb was one of the spinners heading down the hill towards Ashby Corner. We'll track the others through in a moment. There is a confirmation of the penalty for Joey Mims. On the number 26, Cooper Campbell-Lees has also had a warning. Look at this, Harvey Dowler on the attack. This is how you bounce back from adversity, ladies and gentlemen, down the inside to take the lead of the B final. Brilliantly done. Other drivers involved in that first lap incident down the hill: Thomas Barker, Tom Grulois, George Glossop, Layla Fitzgerald, and unfortunately James Wall as well, all out of contention, it would seem, in this one. But they are all still running again. We've got 22 drivers in this one, covered by 11.4 seconds. Proper scrap going on for third place. I think Jacob Cipregi, another one of the drivers who could have won that pre-B final, has fought back here after that spin in the wet conditions. A lot of these drivers were the ones who had that heavy rain earlier on this afternoon, so this is their first running in dry race conditions. End of lap number 2. It's Dowler and Griffin off the front of the field, looking pretty good right now with 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
Absolutely. He qualified really well, did Harvey Dowler, earlier on. He was so close to making the A grid on qualifying merit alone. Just missed out in what was a very tight pack of karts there. Now the top 2 look to break away, and as Andrew correctly says, now in dry conditions. In fact, shout out to the junior lightweight C grid, who I think are the only grid to have not had any adverse conditions at all. Here we are, though, side by side into Wilkins. This is all going to get interesting. 4 wide. That's going to be a heart-in-the-mouth moment. And we've got an off there for Charlie Cipregi. And I didn't quite catch who the other driver was involved in that. We'll have to double-check on timing. The top 2 are well clear of all of that drama. But drama it was. It's so difficult to go side by side into Wilkins. But it's unusual to see it all suddenly could become 4 wide. And the top 2 of that battling pack basically forced each other wide and then lost time to the 2 behind. And yeah, Charlie Cipregi and Ethan Guest dropping down as a result of that. Not all the way, I have to say. Oh, well, I'm afraid Charlie Cipregi has not been able to recover as quickly as Ethan Guest. But Ethan Guest down to 11th. Charlie Cipregi will now be on a little bit of a recovery drive if he can help it. And there's a penalty in for Tom Justice for forcing a driver wide, and you'd have to imagine that that's involved in that Wilkins incident. As we're looking now at the remnants of that battle, effectively, Jacob Cipregi, that's Campbell-Lees, who we're seeing. Cipregi is slightly further up the road, but that is Cooper Campbell-Lees getting by on Tom Justice up into 4th place, and there is Jacob Cipregi in the 11, slightly further up the road. So the 11 in 3rd and the 111 in 4th at the moment. having just seen Campbell Lees get by on on Tom Justice. Leonidas Georgiou is also catching up to the back of them as well. Plenty of drama going on here, but at the front, the leaders doing everything they need to do, pulling out the gap a little bit further. Briefly, the fastest lap of the race with Harvey Dowler there, but now going the way of Fawaz Adra as everyone gets a little bit faster around this 1.2 kilometre Whilton Mill International layout.
Oh, indeed. We are keeping an eye on the weather at the moment. It's all looking good for us here in Northamptonshire, which is good news for these drivers. I think we've seen enough of the wet conditions earlier on today. It's looking solid here for Dowler and for Griffin. They don't need to fight too hard, if at all, at this stage. Here's a good scrap. The number 91 of Archie Lamb is involved. The number 98 of Layla Fitzgerald as well is getting some support in the chat. Let us know if you're watching at home who you're cheering on this afternoon, and if you're with us tomorrow as well for the super lightweights. We'll be kicking things off just after 11:45 UK time for everything again, all the time qualifying, pre-finals and the finals and the paddock shows, all here on the Alpha Live YouTube platform with commentary from Double Dash Motorsport Media. There's a new fastest lap of the race, Harvey Dowler. This is a great position to be in when you're a driver looking to bounce back after a disappointing result in the Pre-B final, to be in the lead, clear out front, and you just relax and then really start to stretch out. The fastest laps keep coming. You get that extra couple of tenths. You just start to feel comfortable, and it can really kick a driver on in terms of their following performances. Through into the toe of the boot. This is the fight for fourth place. Campbell Lees, Justice and Ryan. Championship points, of course, up for grabs here for each individual position. Each one does count, and for all of the drivers, they'll all have their own personal targets. They all want to win, of course, but particularly those who are in their first season, they'll maybe have an eye on getting top 30, top 40 of the championship overall as we go through the remaining rounds.
Yes, indeed. The drivers battling over the B final positions today, make no mistake, are the consistent A final battlers of tomorrow. As the battle comes through, Wilkins, Cooper Campbell-Lees, Tom Justice and Jacob Cipregi, but don't forget that Tom Justice has a forcing the driver wide penalty, which from memory will be 2 positions. I'll double check that one actually.
So 4 minutes to go. Dowler and Griffin unchanged at the front. This one just feels like it's playing through the motions right now. Cooper Campbell-Lees there, third on the road. Tom Justice. Who else is coming back into this? Jacob Cipregi's there at the back of this group now in 5th place.
Yep. I'm far too lenient, by the way, in my forcing the driver wide judgments. It's 4 positions.
Yep.
I think I'm.
It's effectively the same as a bump and pass.
It is effectively the same as a bump and pass, indeed. So yes. As Andrew knows, I will now be thoroughly annoyed that I got my penalty rules wrong. But yeah, so costly there for Tom Justice. Still on for some good points though, even once that is applied, and it's still very much in his interest to battle over every position, because every position gained is 1 penalty position mitigated, if you like. As there are some moves further down the order. Ruben Gardner up to 10th place. And good battles as well. In fact, there's a very close battle going on for the likes of 15th place. James Wall, George Glossop, Tom Grouloir, albeit Grouloir also has a penalty for advantage by contact, bump and pass, so that'll be 4 positions added to wherever he finishes. Just under 3 minutes left on the clock. That's a penalty for Ethan Guest for advantage by contact takeout. So that's a little bit more disappointment, unfortunately, for the driver of number 73, who's already had quite his fair share of action for today.
Yeah, tough race for Ethan Guest. As there was a move there, the number 54 was looking down the inside. I think that was George Glossop going for an overtake. These drivers through as they head down the hill towards Ashby Corner. Indeed, yes, George Glossop did get through to the front of this little queue. That was past James Wall in the number 20. Tom Grouloir and Layla Fitzgerald in this fight, because again, they're all, for some of these drivers, they might be on the cusp of getting a best result of the season so far, building all the time. It's one of the great things about this cadet series, that drivers can build from the C final. It's so competitive out there. There's plenty of experience for those starting new, moving through from the C to the B to ultimately getting into one of those A finals, and maybe even more. That was a good
battle for second. Yeah, battle for second. They've caught up to Dan Griffin. This is not done yet for the promotion spots. Here we are, Cooper Campbell-Lees battling away, and that's the move from Tom Justice. Now, Tom Justice can't get the promotion, but the drivers here don't necessarily know that. They would have been keeping a ledger of all of the penalties that have been awarded. So this is a very in-earnest battle here as Tom Justice goes down the inside of Dan Griffin. That upsets Griffin's momentum, and that allows Jacob Cipregi through. And Dan Griffin is understandably not too happy with how that all played out. It is Tom Justice up to second place, but in terms of promotion spots, based on what we've seen of penalties, that is Jacob Cipregi up into the last of the promotion spots. And this battle going on, don't forget, some 5.5 seconds back from Harvey Dowler, who cements his lead further with a fastest lap. This isn't the last lap board. The clock is showing a time that would usually see us see the last lap board, but such is the gap for the leaders. There's a big look there on to Tom Justice from Jacob Cipregi, and so too Dan Griffin is attacking Cooper Campbell-Lees behind. 2 by 2 heading towards Ashby, downhill braking. Big move there from Dan Griffin. He wants back in on this promotion spot, and to fair play to him, he held that one really well into Ashby with a nice block pass that effectively saw him do a double pass into Ashby Corner. There's not too many drivers who pull that off. Tom Justice, though, leaning on slightly there. That was a moment of Dan Griffin having to go across the grass. Here, though, to see the last lap board this time is Harvey Dowler. So there's the final lap board being shown to the driver of the 69. We're not seeing too much of him, and that is testament to how well he has controlled this race, having come to the head of the field. Jacob Cipregi leads the battle for second place as they come onto this last lap. Who's going to head up that one? There, by the way, is a fantastic little battle going on further down the road with Fawaz Adra at the head of it at the moment in the number 30. So plenty of stuff to be watching on this final lap. How does Jacob Cipregi defend this one? Well, he's got Tom Justice, unbeknownst to him in a way, as a bit of a buffer driver, because Tom Justice is carrying that penalty. There was a spin there for, I think that might have been Leo Ryan going around at Christmas Corner in the battle pack behind these four. Another look over the shoulder from Jacob Cipregi to see where the threat's coming from. Dan Griffin, we know he likes making a big move here. Here's Tom Justice making a big move again. He's got to be careful making these moves. It opens the door, and that is Cooper Campbell-Lees through and up into second place. Who's getting the last promotion spot? We know who's getting the first. Harvey Dowler's controlled this one beautifully and will take the win in the B final for round 6 in Club 100 cadet lightweights. But who's going to take second? It is Cooper Campbell-Lees who's come to the fore. Dan Griffin is on for third there and crosses the line with his arms aloft, feeling the emotion of what he may have lost close but not close enough. Jacob Cipregi in fourth, Tom Justice in fifth, but with a penalty to be applied. I'm going to stress how provisional that was, because it all got rather robust, let's say, towards the end there between those drivers. Fawaz Adra held on for the head of that next pack of carts battling away ahead of Aaron Hayward, Ruben Gardner, Leonidas Georgiou. He's had a good day working his way up from pole on the pre-C grid. Ethan Guest in 10th, but unfortunately penalty to be applied there as well. Thomas Barker in 11th ahead of Leo Ryan. Jack Yates in 13th, Joey Mims in 14th, but has a braking formation penalty to be applied. George Glossop in 15th, Layla Fitzgerald in 16th ahead of Tom Gruloir, who also has a penalty to be applied. I think it was a bump and pass penalty, if memory serves. Archie Lamb in 18th, Leo Edger in 19th, 20th for James Wall ahead of Charlie Cipregi and Bobby Peters.
Properly good drive there from Harvey Dowler. That's the textbook B final victory. That is how you do it.
Great to
see him celebrating over the line as well.
Yeah,
with a proud run that keeps his run of being in the A finals going. We're getting into the last stages of today's action. Next up, it's race number 22, the junior lightweight B final, is coming up next.